Hey Christine, I'm doing good. How are you this morning? Today we're doing plein air painting. I'm in Aberdeen, Ohio, looking at Maysville, Kentucky on the other side of the river. And I'm just setting my easel up. This is a little tiny plein air easel. It's one of my favorite things in the world. You could just put it in a backpack. And it fits on the back of, or it fits on top of a tripod, like so. Let's see. So I've got my paint here and my turpentine here. Let's see, there's a little hook to hang that turpentine. I might have not been paying attention and I lost my little hook while I was setting up, but it's no problem. I can hang this right here and it'll work just fine. Let's see. Well, Sue Ellen, how are you on your way if you're watching me set up? I hope you're not driving and watching internet at the same time. But drive safe. Looking forward to seeing you. Alright, so I've got a few different canvases to work from and my box full of paint. I'm going to come up there and adjust the camera so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. I've got it framed like this. I wanted you to see the beautiful view behind me. Christine says, I hope some of the fog lifts, or do you want to paint a foggy town? Do you know what? I think the fog's really pretty. It'll be real challenging. I'm used to sun and strong directional light, but the fog might be a good challenge for me to work on. So, you know, one thing about painting like this, you take whatever you get, and this is what I've got today, and I could definitely see beauty in it, so that's what I'll work with. I wanted to show you what I'm going to paint on today. Or maybe I won't paint on this today, but I had this idea of taking one of my woodcuts that I'm not using anymore, and I thought that I would make a painting on the other side of the woodcut, because this is still smooth and it's a great surface for painting, but the board has warped a little bit, and I think I could fix it in framing, but the primer hasn't completely cured. I put a primer on here and it's still just a little bit wet. It's been real humid here in Kentucky, so I don't want to put all the hard work of a painting only for it to not bind correctly because I couldn't wait for the primer to cure. So I thought that might happen. So I've brought a couple of canvases that are panoramic. If you see the view behind me, it's a real pretty wide view. So I knew I wanted to do a panoramic view, and I'm thinking this is some old canvas. There's a little bit of dust on it, but that's easy to take care of. This is a canvas that I stretched. I made the stretcher, and it's a custom size that I'm going to use to make a painting. And I've also got this that was made by probably people in a place like China, which I'd rather not support that kind of thing as much as I can. Well, do you know what? This was made in the USA, so I feel a little bit better about using this if I did use this canvas. But I'm kind of hands-on. I like using my materials and controlling it from start to finish. So this little box is really made for wood panels, but it will also hold a canvas. And I'll just set this here like this, and there's a little tray that I can set to the side to hold my brushes. I've got a little brush container I made, and uh-oh, the brushes I wanted to use aren't in here. I'll bet they're in this box. Oh, they are. Good. So, I'm mostly going to work with hog hair bristle brushes, and I like the flat kind. I'll get a little closer so you can see. I like flat hog hair brushes. And what's nice about them, you have a wide stroke, and you also have a skinny stroke, depending on which direction you're painting with. So it's kind of like you get two brushes in one. And these are pretty firm bristles. It's not like the sable. This is a sable brush, and it's real soft, so you could get little details or blends with a sable brush. But for plein air, I like a real springy, firm brush. This is another bristle. You see how it's wide or skinny? I really like bristle brushes for that reason. And your paint will be thicker, and you get a real pretty texture that's fun for plein air painting. So I'm meeting some other artists, and in typical artist fashion, they're all running a little bit late. So maybe I'll do a little bit of painting while we wait for them. Some are first-time artists, and I didn't want a live video to be broadcasting while they're learning things for the first time. So when they get here, I'll turn it off. But let me get my sketchbook, and I'll do some sketching, and I'll talk to you about the way I think while I'm working a composition out. Let's see. Okay, so here is my fancy-pantsy, really expensive sketchbook, and this is kind of like a analog iPad. I'll use this for a little bit of everything. I'll keep my notes and my calendar in the front part, but in the back, if you turn it over and flip it over, I use it as a sketchbook. And sometimes I like to use a real fancy paper sketchbook, but I found that just cheap garbage paper, I don't think even cost $1. It was probably 80 cents for this sketchbook. And what I like about sketching with it, I can draw without getting too precious about the drawing. I feel like it's a good surface for working ideas out, but I'd never show my sketchbook to other people. It's just kind of a private way to sketch and get your ideas out. And another thing I do, I always draw with a pen. And for years and years and years, I always drew with a pencil. And I liked that I could erase, and that was probably the big thing. With the pencil, you could erase and smooth details out. But with a pen, there's no eraser. And when I'm sketching an idea out with permanent ink, it forces me to think a little bit different. I don't get caught up in details, erasing things and drawing them over. I just get the big idea together. So I've got a pretty view. There's a lot of different things I could put in my painting. I know I want to do a panoramic view, so when I sketch, let's see, maybe I'll tilt this down a little bit so you can see. Ideally, I'd like you to be able to see the paper and the view, but my cinematography might not be, okay, maybe I'll draw a little bit bigger. I'll get another sheet and draw bigger. So I know I'd like the bridge to be in the painting, and I know I'd like the church and the courthouse to be in the building. So when I work, I'm going to think about those two things and make sure, can you see? And make sure that those landmarks I really want to be in the composition are within those borders. And I know that the proportion I have is about this much space. So I'm not going to try to get the whole bridge in. I'm just going to get the close to Kentucky side, and I'm just working with real basic shapes, and I'll use my pen to measure angles. Sometimes with perspective, your eye can trick you, and you might think something's going up, but it's actually going down the way that your eye sees it. And I'll use my pen as a tool to just check my angles and make sure, like this part of the bridge on the Kentucky side goes down a little bit. It slopes at about that angle. And this is going to be interesting with the fog. I've never tried to do this before, which is good. I think you should always try things you've never tried before and push yourself as an artist. The bridge with this fog will be kind of fun because you have dark trees at the base of the bridge, and the bridge looks kind of light against it, but as you go up to the white sky, the bridge looks really dark, and that'll be a real fun contrast to play with. So I'm also going to use this pen to sort of measure distances. So the courthouse is about 3 pen lengths from the center of this part of the bridge. So let's see, the height is about half a pen length, so it would be about 6. That's not going to fit, so I'm going to squeeze. I'm going to take a little artistic license and do some squeezing. Here's the courthouse, and it's not really that tall. Maybe it's more like that tall. You see how I'm not really getting precious with details? I'm just working basic shapes out. And I am working from what I see, but at this point I'm just making a map of where things are going to go with the painting. And I might do a little editing. I might cut some things out just so that I could squeeze it all. I feel like some of the landmark churches are important that they're in there, and then maybe every single building doesn't have to be there. I heard a voice. I thought it might have been one of my artists, but I've got a feeling they saw the fog and they're going to wait for the fog to disappear before they show up. Which, they're missing out. This is real pretty. Okay, and that's about all the sketch I feel like I need. I'll show you a little bit closer. It's good enough. So at this point I'm going to move on to the canvas, and since nobody's here, I'll keep filming this. Let me move the camera a little closer to my easel. Let's see, can you see? I think you can see this. I don't want to stand in front. My ideal spot is where you could see subject and the painting. Remove my paint. I think if I stand here, that might work. You can't see the bridge, but let's see. Turn this way. Well, you'll just have to do a Google search of Maysville, Kentucky, and an image of our bridge will probably show up. It's a real pretty suspension bridge from the 1930s. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to lay my brushes out. And I built this brush holder so that it would tie onto my easel. Let's see, this is pretty old and the string's starting to wear out a little bit. It should still do the trick. Okay, so I've got the brushes set up. Well, let's see. Okay, I've got some comments. Sarah says that's just fine, Ken. Good, good. I want to make sure you can see everything. I'm not the best narrator, so I feel like the visual part is the strongest thing in these videos. So I want to make sure you can see. Okay, you should see the palette. I think that's important. But you see how I mix the colors. At this point, I'm just going to sketch my composition out on the canvas, and the colors I use don't really matter as much as I want to get some darks and lights. So I'm kind of feeling purpley because the fog just has this feeling to me that there's kind of a cool purple feeling to it. And I also have a new tube of purple that I've been using a lot. So let's see. I've got quinacridone violet, which I like a lot, but the new one I got is quinacridone magenta, which is really, really a fun color. It mixes in a really interesting way. I guess it's more of a pink than a purple. I've got a couple comments and questions. Shonda loves this. Well, thanks. I hope you keep watching and I'm able to do some more painting. When my friends get here, I'm going to turn the broadcast off just so that they don't feel nervous about painting with people watching. And Sarah wants to claim this painting. She says it reminds her of her mama in Aberdeen. And you're really brave to want to claim it looking like this. I have one friend that knew I was going to do this, and they thought that it might be something they want, and it's a really long-time friend that I can't say no to. So I'm going to let them look at it first, but if for some reason it doesn't work out, I'll let you look at it next, Sarah. But I'm real uncomfortable doing that because the painting's not finished, and sometimes that can mess my process up if I feel like it's already got a buyer before I'm done, because then I start worrying, well, is Sarah gonna like this? I don't know if does Sarah like purple? And when I don't have a buyer already ready, then I just paint for Ken, and I know if Ken likes it or not because Ken's standing right there. So I'm gonna put some of these paints out. We're definitely going to use this quinacridone magenta. And let's use the violet too also. So the magenta is more towards the red end of the spectrum, and the violet is closer to the purple end of the spectrum. I wonder what it would be like if I didn't use any blue. Do you think that's crazy? I've never I love blue so much, I use it all the time. Maybe I'll try to make a painting with no blue. I get the weirdest ideas when you all are watching. But it could come out really cool. Now part of me is worried that Sarah's not going to like painting with no blue. But I think she understands. So we're going to use some yellow. Put the orange here. And let's see. We're going to definitely need white. So we've got some white there. Okay, let's go with those colors for now. So I'm going to grab my wide bristle brush and a little bit of turpentine. Hopefully I have a rag and I can wipe some of this dust off. That canvas has sat on a shelf for a while. I also need a rag to clean my brushes. Let's see. Well, I thought I was prepared, but I've got a feeling my rag is sitting on my desk with whatever else I forgot. But I do have some paper towels that were in my truck, so I'm going to use paper towels as my rag. I'm just going to get the dust off this canvas, so I don't want any more dust than is already going to get into the painting. I guess I'll leave the paper towels here. Okay, so this is kind of an exciting part of painting. You just start laying your shapes out. So I'm going to grab some purple. Boy, that purple's really bright. So one way you can make purple a little less bright is to add the opposite color. And the opposite of purple is yellow. It's a little more orangey at this point, but I can work with this. This is good. So I'm going to thin the paint down a little bit, and then I'm going to grab my rusty, trusty, really expensive sketchbook and use my sketch as a reference. And at the same time, I'm also going to look at the view while I'm sketching and just sort of lay things out. I'm going to start with where the land meets the water. Oh, you know what I want to do first? I don't like working on a white surface, so I'm going to just have a thin layer of paint on my canvas. I'll grab my paper towel. Just sort of wipe it with the purple, and this will tone the canvas so it doesn't look so stark and white. Yeah, this is a nice. I can't believe I'm going to try to paint without blue. Between working with fog and not having blue, those are two real big new frontiers for me. Okay, so now let me get back to paint. Let's lay that little area where the river meets the land. want my bridge. The bridge is the tallest thing in the picture, so we'll have it maybe this tall. And now I'm measuring with my brush the angle of the cable that holds the bridge, and it's about that kind of angle. So I'll just put it in there, and you can't see the top of the hills. This is going to be really different for me. I know the tops are there, but it's going to be a soft blend where the two meet. I'm a little nervous trying to think of how I'll do that. I guess with painting, you use what you see and just stay true to what is in front of you, and it should come together. I'm going to scoot St. Pat's Church a little bit closer to the river, just so I can fit more things. I'm not going to put the health department in it, just because it's a really good place, but maybe it doesn't need to be in this painting. And I've got some suggestions of the buildings. There's a church here, and a white church, and about this amount of space. A courthouse here. I might have room to put the eat gallery. Yeah, let's put the eat gallery, which is just a block further down, right there. If you'd like to see some of my work and some really pretty jewelry, the eat gallery right there is a nice place to visit. Okay, might pick a little more paint up. Just sort of reinforce those shapes that I was using, that I put in earlier. I don't know if you can see the steam that's coming from behind the French Quarter Hotel. That's from the laundromat, the modern laundry. That's really an interesting thing. I probably want in this picture. I'm also interested in the steam coming off the river. I think that'll be pretty cool if I could capture that. Now, one of the challenges of painting like this, the light is going to change as the sun gets higher in the sky. It's going to burn the fog away, and everything will look different. So while I'm working, I'm trying to memorize in my mind what it looks like right now, so that as the view changes, I could hold that moment. Let's see. It looks like Vicky says she loves my narrations. Well, thank you. I'm not sure they're my strongest part, but I like that you get something out of them. And then Christine says it's very cool. She has to go look at some student artwork, so catch you later. All right, well, I might still be here if none of the other artists show up. I'll just leave this on till they do. So it looks like you can see the painting pretty well. Yeah, all right. So I've got my guts down, and I might just do a little more brush work. And you can see I'm using it's the biggest brush that I brought today. So I can't really get into details with this, but just big shapes. And at this point, I feel like I have the composition worked out. So now I'm going to start working with values. And one of the most striking values, the two most striking values to me, are the contrast of the bridge with the sky. And I also like the darkness of the trees and how they contrast with the buildings in the foreground. And they're really interesting because as you go up in the view, they disappear and become light. So I'm going to get more of that purple a little bit of yellow to it. Earlier I gave myself a challenge. I'm going to try to paint without using blue. And I'm already questioning myself if I really meant that, because if I had blue on my palette, I'd probably have put some blue down. So now I'm thinking about the silhouette of where the buildings meet the trees, and I'm just going to start laying the darks down. And this is oil paint, so I can always scrub the paint away if I have some dark where I didn't really want dark. So I'm just thinking about the shape of the courthouse. And then close to it, there's another shape of the church here with the big white steeple. And keep following that. There's a white house behind that, so I might leave some white space there. And then there's a lot of rectangles. Like there's an old hospital. It's a big, wide brick building that stretches until it comes to this church, which has a darker steeple. It's still lighter if I squint. It still looks lighter than the trees in the background. And then let's see. I've squeezed some things just to fit the canvas, and I'm running into a problem where I have to do some editing and not include everything. And I'm in my mind trying to think about the shape and what's most important for this particular painting. It's a hard call. It's all real pretty, but okay, so I've got my dark contrast of where the trees meet the city, and there's also a contrast where the land meets the river, so I might also put some darkness here. I'm just working with dark and light. The color doesn't matter. I could do this with any color. And in my experience, I found if you use colors that are a little bit outside of nature, sometimes it makes your painting a little more interesting. Okay, I definitely want the contrast of the bridge and the sky. It's a little skinnier than I originally put it. Right. It's all dark, dark, dark. All of this is pretty dark. The river looks pretty light, so maybe this is what we're going to work with. What do you think? Do you see the city in it yet? It looks like I don't have any comments. I'm just going to keep painting. If you have any questions, holler, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. I'm learning too, so I don't always know the answers, but let's see. So now I'm smoothing that dark up as we get to the fog or the clouds that are hanging over the city. With this kind of painting, you have to work pretty quick, and it's a good exercise because if you're like me, I can nitpick on a painting and get stuck in details, but when you're outside and light is changing, you just have to get the impression of what you're looking at. There's no time to nitpick your details. Okay. Pretty good. Sometimes I have to step back to look at the canvas from a distance, and it helps me see some of the problems. I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like the bridge is angled like this a little bit, so I'm gonna straighten it up just a little. Let's see, let's go like this. All right. Now I'm thinking about some of those trees in the foreground that are dark. Fog does some really weird things with light. It's like all of the light is diffused and it's all softened, and I normally wouldn't paint in the fog just because it's such a weird light to paint in, but I like exercises. I like trying to push myself as an artist. I've come to this scene many times. If you look at my website, you can see more than one painting of this view, and they've always been in the good light. So instead of doing something familiar and easy, I'm using this paper towel to wipe some of the paint off just to get a little brighter white with the clouds coming down. These are going to be real tricky, but let's see. See, Sarah, you might not want this painting. You said you wanted it before I started, but it might be too weird. I'm going to try to find the beauty of this scene, but as far as painting goes, this is not an easy scene to capture. Okay, so at this point I feel like I've more or less got my dark and lights. You know what's really funny about this? I told you earlier I'm going to try not to use blue in this painting, and with a foggy scene, blue is the predominant color. Everything's blue. The clouds make it blue, but to use warm colors like this purple is a little bit bonkers. I might have to withdraw my challenge, and I might get that blue paint out after all. We'll see. At this point, I'm going to stick with it. Alright, I'm going to step back and just look at what I've got. Okay, remember that steam that was coming out of the laundry place? I'm going to remove a little bit of paint. Let's see, the laundry would be right around this area. I'm going to remove some paint because the steam is a bright color, not a dark color. I want to remove some of the paint around the bridge. I'd say the top of the bridge is a high contrast area. You have some really, really dark next to some really, really light. With the painting, sometimes you want people's attention when they look at a painting to go to a particular part of the painting. And an area with high contrast usually gets people's attention first. So if I emphasize that dark against light, your eye should go straight to that bridge. And I imagine your eye also probably follows that area of high contrast. When you look at it, you probably look here, and then you probably follow this area. And ideally, for a good painting, you want the eye to come back into the center. So I'm going to try to think of some tricks to get your eye to move this way and then come back into the painting so that you can enjoy it over and over. We'll see what happens. Okay. On this part of the view, the bridge isn't dark anymore. It starts to look light compared to the dark of the trees. So here I'm going to remove some paint to suggest the light part of the bridge. Maybe I'll add a little more dark here. Ooh, all right, that's a lot to get done. Okay, it looks like I've got a question from Vicky. She says, it's amazing what you could even do with a paper towel. Laugh out loud. You know what? Sometimes I'll spend more money than I should on a fancy brush that supposedly will solve all your problems and make you the best artist in the world. And if you've ever looked at brushes, they could get really crazy, really crazy in price. But if you have an understanding of composition and color, you could use a stick or a paper towel to do a painting, and if you know what you're doing, it could look as good as using that fancy equipment. And Tanya is asking, why did you choose red? It looks awesome, but I would not have occurred to me. Well, Tanya, when I get on this thing, sometimes I get kind of goofy, and while I was putting colors on my palette, I made a little challenge. Well, I wonder what would happen if I didn't use blue. So ideally this scene will have a lot of purple tones to it, and this color is a purple with a little bit of yellow to tone it down. It'll be interesting. I don't know what it's going to look like either. Shonda just said it's interesting to see how much you've done using just one color. Yeah, you could do a lot with one color. To me, the success of a painting, a lot of the success of a painting has to do with the values, your dark and lights. You could use any color you want, but if your dark and light are well thought out and they give you the shape of the things in the painting, the color doesn't matter. And that's part of why I thought I'd try to do this with no blue, to illustrate how the color isn't as important as some of the other principles of design, like painting, like composition and value and shape. All right, I'm going to get back to painting. I'm a little procrastinating. It's kind of tricky to demonstrate and do a painting at the same time, especially when you didn't have a plan from the beginning. I'm trying to think of that steam. I wish this weren't on. If I didn't have the camera on, I would probably have taken a photo of this scene so that I could use it as reference in case I get stuck. But I think there's something to say about working without photographic reference and just purely working from life. So So let's just keep at it. I think I'm ready to put some color in, and I know I'm going to need white. And to keep the white from being too boring, I'm going to want to tone it a little bit. And the mix of purple and yellow that I was using really turns into more of like an orange than gray. And the quinacridone colors are real modern pigments. They're permanent, and the way they mix stays really colorful. They don't get muted as easy as the cadmium colors or the traditional oil colors. So since I've got a lot of orange, to balance that out, blue is how you would balance orange out. I'm trying not to use blue. So let's try a little green. I'll put some green on the palette. You know what? I've got a tube of gray paint. So maybe I could use the gray. Gray is technically not blue. I'm going to put a little bit of gray on the palette. Usually I mix my own grays, but since I don't have blue in my toolbox, I'll use a gray out of the tube. And I'm still using the big brush. I'm going to mix that gray with a little bit of that muddy purple. And then I'm going to bring some white. Into it. And this is going to be my cloud color. So I could pretty much put it, the way this fog works, it all looks smooth and even as just a white. Even though I'm not using traditional colors that are exactly what is in front of me, I'm still working from life. I'm using what's in front of me as the reference to how I make my choices, but it's more of value choices than true color. I'm not sure if that's the best explanation, but and for me, a very smooth, without any change area is kind of boring. So I'm gradually putting more and more white into it. So it's still light and white. But, well, look here, one of our artists has just pulled up. And I'm not going to turn the camera off because this artist is comfortable painting around people, so she might even come around and say hi to you. What's that?
Hello, Ken.
Hey, Sue. Well, I know you know I'm doing a live broadcast because
I know, I saw you.
You were watching, and I hope you weren't driving while you were looking.
I saw you. I just went in to put in comments while I was getting ready to run out the door.
Okay, well, I'm glad I'm kind of disappointed. I thought all these people were going to come and paint with us.
Yeah. No, you got a bunch down here in the...
Oh, they're here.
Yeah, there's a bunch of ladies down there, Vicky, and maybe Karen.
Well, my feelings aren't hurt after all. What good news.
Yeah, there's 3 ladies joining.
Oh, good.
Plus me and Madison, so that's
good.
2 more.
Okay.
And
well, I take back all the bad thoughts I was having about you.
Shame on you, Ken.
Do you want to say hi to everybody?
I will, and I got you something. Hold on.
Okay. Oh, I hope it's a rag to clean my brushes.
I got a line on rags.
Oh, what? Well, now there's rags coming from everywhere. Steve has a rag too. Ask and you shall receive. Yes.
and a surgical tech.
Okay.
So once they open up a pack in the surgery, they have to get rid of it. So
oh wow.
I get these brand new rags.
Okay. So has this maybe cleaned guts?
No.
This is still new.
When they open up a pack, they use whatever they use out of it, and whatever's left in the pack, it's not sterile.
Well, that's cool. Well, it definitely won't be sterile when I'm done with it.
Oh, I love them. They're great for art because they're like lint free and everything.
Sure. Yeah.
Really good.
What's good to have a nurse in the family?
And this.
Uh-oh.
I got you a cool book.
Well, that's cool.
I was gonna read it first because I know you like used things, but it's already used.
Yeah.
And kick-ass creativity.
Well, how fun. Yeah, I won't say the whole title in case kids are
well,
watching.
It's got a mule on it, so
But oh, it's that kind of ass.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case,
it's okay.
in that case, we're still.
Yeah.
Am I PG? I'm probably G rated. I'm pretty.
This is maybe PG.
Conservative with my bad words. Well, what has a good review from Julia Cameron, another writer who writes about art stuff that I like a lot. So, an energy makeover for artists and creative professionals.
You're all the time talking about that, like when you get stuck and you're like,
sure, yeah.
What should we do now? And
yeah, it's a constant thing I think
but
artists
you could write your own book
all
on
deal
this
with.
Subject. But
Maybe. I'm not as strong as a writer. Well, how cool. Well, everybody here's, I can't give a review on...
Happy late birthday present.
Have you read it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, maybe we could do some of the exercises as a group. I don't know
That's a great idea.
If you all might be interested too. Maybe we could share.
Okay, I'm gonna get around here and say hello.
I'm gonna put this away, and Sue can entertain you while I
entertain you.
Put this book in my car.
Anybody that's new to the program, we are in Aberdeen, Ohio, overlooking beautiful, lovely downtown Maysville, Kentucky. I'm Sue Gorman.
Yeah, Sue and I have been friends for I think 1,000,000 years.
Yeah,
and
something like that.
Our friendship was based on doing exactly what we're doing today.
Yeah, that's how we met.
We met as painters that met in a group that I think it was every Wednesday.
It was.
Looking back now, that seems a little crazy.
I don't think it was every Wednesday.
We met.
Was it like the third Wednesday of the month or something?
It seems like it was more than once a month,
okay.
But I don't think it was.
But Diane
every
Schaus
Wednesday.
was integral in that whole setup.
Yes, Diane Schaus started that Plein Air Wednesday, is what we called it, and
she was fearless. She would go anywhere.
Oh,
if you said we're going into the deep woods, she'd be like, "All right, I got my boots."
Yeah, she sure was. She was a big influence on me as an artist, and when she moved away, I've been really sad about her not being here. But I'm real excited that we're still kind of continuing her idea.
Yeah, we are
today, and someone was interested in buying this painting before I even started.
Oh my gosh!
And
well, you've got a following, you know.
Diane Schaus, out of the blue, reached out to me in an email wondering if I had any paintings. And I told her that, well, I'm kind of in transition. I was doing a lot of clay, and now I'm starting to paint again.
Oh, that was way back when.
Your ears must have been burning, because we're getting ready to do a Plein Air Wednesday. And I told her where we were meeting and what I was going to paint. And she thinks she might like to have the first look at it. And that's why I told you couldn't have the first pick. Diane's just a really good friend and a big influence. And
oh, was that recently?
Yesterday.
No way, you've talked to her.
Yeah, well, email.
Oh
we did email.
Will you please tell her I said hello?
I will. Yeah.
I found her address and I thought I should write her. And I'm a terrible mail corresponder.
Sure.
I like to receive things, like order things and receive them, but I'm bad about sending them out. So
if you want to get, you got to give.
If you're watching, Diane, I miss you so badly.
I can give you her address if you want to send her something.
I've got one from ages ago when they first moved away. Are they in the same?
It's probably the same.
Spot? Okay.
It's probably the same.
I set it out and then
Or an email if you want to send her an email and just.
Well, I might have to get that from you.
Reach out to her.
So we should find us a spot, and maybe I should make something.
Yeah.
I brought acrylics today.
Okay. I think it's a good acrylic day.
It's damn.
Yeah. Are you going to paint here, or do you think you might go somewhere a little
I
different?
don't know.
The reason I'm asking, I might want to run to the restroom, and I thought I could point this at you while you set up if you wanted to.
I can do that.
Entertain
I'd
people.
be happy to sit at a table. 'Cause I didn't bring a table with me, but if I could set up at a table, that would be easier for me.
Okay. Do you like those tables?
Yeah, this is fine.
All right. Is that okay, everybody? Could I put the camera on Sue for a while? She's a really good painter. So
Everybody protest.
you'd miss out if you didn't want to watch her set up. But let's take the camera here.
An artist, but he's not like this artist. Well, sure you are. We're having a plein air painting, and you're drawing. So now you're one of the group.
He lives here in Aberdeen, and I told him to come and get his paints and join us. They have a lot in common. They might end up talking about trucks instead of painting. But I'm going to leave this on, and I'm going to use the restroom real quick, and I'll come right back to the painting. So stay tuned. Maybe 2-3 minutes.
Oh, he's got the camera on me. I got to get my stuff out and get busy. I didn't realize he meant right this second. Thanks, Ken. I was just talking. Yes, dear.
Yeah, I usually come down here and sit with the
It's a pretty place. I apologize, y'all. I'm always late, and I should have been here. Oh, down here, no. I've been coming here for years. When I was a teenager, Aberdeen was the place to come get your car washed because they was the cheapest car wash. You could get it done quick.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I was running around racing cars. Oh,
We could put the. I think I should put the blanket down. Where at? Oh yeah?
I went down there for janitorial maintenance. That's what happened. But I'm more or less, they caught me one day sketching, doing some artwork. Talked me into doing a 6-year college course.
Oh yeah.
So I did a 6-year college course. Graduated. Ended up teaching class down there.
I never did finish my degree.
Never did. I did 6 years.
Who is that? Claudia Moose. You remember Claudia? No, you're too little. Sarah. It was Sarah that used to go to her house.
How long was you course?
Oh, I went a few years here and there and everywhere, and then I just decided I didn't need it to paint. any of the pastels or drawing mediums, and also acrylics. I work with acrylics a lot. I don't know if y'all can tell, I'm talking off camera to this fella in the car here. He's a local resident that just happened to catch us out here drawing, and he's out here drawing. So now he's part of the group. What's your name, sir?
Steve Nipper.
This is Steve Nipper over here talking to us about drawing. Hello, Claudia. We're on live Facebook with Ken Swinson. He had to walk away. Come on over. He had to walk away, but he'll be right back. So I'm keeping the
Okay, so you keep
Facebook Live going.
Oh, I didn't realize that this was going to be filmed. Oh, okay.
So you want to blast from the past? You remember those little brats that used to draw all
And
over
that,
the art
that
guild?
can't be Sarah.
That's Madison. That's the baby. She's a senior.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
How
So-
time flies,
I
right?
know.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
hating this thing because I want to hug you so badly.
Oh,
It's just
I
eat
know.
me up. So
Yeah,
gotta
at
be
least
good
we
and
don't
not
have
good.
to mask up out here, do we?
No,
Are you going to?
I'm not.
No.
Ken might. I mean, like he's
I
wearing
know
his
Ken.
around.
Madison, how
But
are
I'm not
you?
going to.
Good.
Well, you only put his on because thought I might have had something.
Oh no. He does that to all of us.
Yeah, he does.
If you get within 3 feet of him, he's like.
So, Vicky was on her way.
Okay, all the girls are down there at the shelter, past the little facilities.
Oh, okay.
If you, where the parking is around the bend, if you just go around the bend and look over to your left, you'll see them.
Okay, so who's there?
I think Vicky and Betsy and I believe I saw Karen Fulton. There's at least 3 ladies down there.
Oh, okay.
We're all straggling in, but you're welcome. Papa's Club, wherever. I haven't even went and talked to them, but I figure we'll take a break real quick. I just got here too, so.
I have a question for you. Every time I see this sign, I think I should know that. But you will, because you are married to a truck driver.
Okay.
When you come across this bridge, for example,
Uh-huh.
there's a sign at the end and it says no engine brake. What does that mean?
Oh, that's a Jake brake. You ever been by a truck and they go,
Yeah, what it is the air. Air turns around, you flip the switch, and the air turns around and adds to the motor to ease off on the speed of the truck.
So whenever they let off the gas,
Uh-huh.
it throttles the motor back, but it makes a sound because of the.
But what does that have to do with the sign?
Because it's loud. In towns they don't like, especially if you've got your truck cranked up
Oh,
and
okay.
you're running about
But-
40 and you let off the gas with the Jake brake on
Yeah.
and it goes.
Yeah,
It's
way
like
to go.
putting your car in first gear.
Okay. So, in other words, it means that the trucks need to slow down so that.
No, it's the sound ordinance. They don't want them to use that Jake brake at all
Oh, okay.
because it
Stuff like that.
yeah it'll rattle your windows. I mean, I'm not joking. It'll
I
literally
never
rattle the
would have
windows in
guessed
your
that
house.
That's what it meant. I thought, what, you're not supposed to use your brake on your engine? What
Hey,
is this?
side sound. Do it again.
Uh-huh.
I know you've heard it.
Yes. Yes.
But
Okay.
they're really handy, like if they're going downhill and stuff.
Yeah.
They're a safety feature, but in town they don't need them. It's just some dummy showing off when he's driving through town.
Okay.
Some retired truck
Like guys that have no mufflers on their car and think that they're cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My son likes to put straight pipes on everything, so.
You ought to hear my truck. I got a
So where did Ken go off to?
He went to the facilities for a minute, and he'll be right back.
Comes.
Is he coming? Y'all, I haven't done a thing except set up and chat with Claudia a minute and talk to you about truckers.
Who'd have thought, right?
Most of them's good guys.
I love
can
this
vote for that.
this fog here.
Isn't that great? It was better like 15 minutes ago. It was awesome because
It's
it was
just
just
so-
breaking.
Beautiful. Hanging over the hills there.
When he got down here, it's foggy.
Oh, I bet you could barely see the bridge at all. I drove through some on the way in here just as I got into Maysville, and it was really thick for a second.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, on the double A, is that how you came in?
Concord. Yep. Upriver.
Yeah, I told my wife I thought like going fishing, but instead I decided to park there.
Well, that's all right too. Probably a good day for fishing. It's mild.
Yeah, wait till the water cool off. It's a little bit hot today.
I'd say it's cool this morning.
I know, what happened to summer? Not ready. Not ready to let go.
I am not a pumpkin latte, fall leaves kind of person.
You like summer better?
Summer. I'm
Oh, yeah.
extreme. It's either summer or winter for me. I don't like spring. I like because it's the hope of summer, but
Yeah, but it can be so wet.
yeah,
and chilly.
I like it either extremely hot or extremely cold, and otherwise leave me alone. But I don't know if you do it, but the weather change kills my body. Like I get my muscles. don't work right.
about the live camera?
Yeah, she about ran away. She
Okay.
tried to run. She's like, I didn't.
I'm going to turn it off so that we can relax and paint.
Well, I've just been sitting here talking about silly stuff, but I don't. They're probably bored.
Okay.
Because they're working on the little house and taking the windows out and replacing rotten boards and couldn't get near my.
It's a good day for pencils since it's so foggy and there's not much color anyway. Hey, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody and turn this off so we could talk.
Sorry I didn't get anything done. We'll probably have something done when you come back, guys.
Yeah, I'll take some
He'll do
pictures.
another one.
Hey everybody. Oh, look at my fogged up. So, let's see. I wonder if there's any comments.
Oh, I wasn't looking at that.
Okay, it looks like Rachel Bowman says, I love the foggy scene. Wish I was there, but working on a collage for a project. Cool. Well, we wish you were here too, Rachel. Eileen says, yay, group exercises. So
I have another blanket in the car if you'd like something to throw down.
she's happy, and then Vicky says, this is oh so much better than television. Well, this is real reality, isn't it? This is just artists and people out
I had to come over.
hanging out and being creative. I'm going to turn this off. I'll let you get one last look at my painting. So here's where the painting is. I'm more than 6 feet away now, so I don't have to wear a mask. But here's where the painting's at. I'm going to keep painting, and what I'll do is every now and then I'll take a short story video. And if you're not familiar with stories, there's a spot, I don't know how your Facebook looks, but there should be a little button you push that'll give you little 30-second, 1-minute stories, and they disappear after 24 hours. But I'll give you some updates in that format as the day goes on, and that way we could say bad words and not worry about people hearing that. So hope you all have a good day, and stay tuned. I'll hopefully have some kind of painting to show off at the end, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.